A third girl joins the table, plopping right down next to Monica.
Oh, hey Sayori, how's it going?
Monica says cheerfully.
Oh, you know, the usual.
She says as she sits down.
You mean the good usual or the bad usual? Well, today's been a bit of both, I guess. On one hand, I finally got an update on my friend. She's doing fine now. That's good to hear. But I did have a bit of an unpleasant conversation with someone this morning. So that got me in a bit of a mood. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's okay, it's not bothering me now, so I'm good.
Sayori then makes eye contact with Charlotte.
Sayori, I believe you've met Charlotte, right? Oh, yes I have. How are you doing, Charlotte? Oh, I'm doing great. It's nice to see you again, Sayori.
Sayori cheerfully smiles, while Charlotte gives Monica a bit of a worried look. Monica sends an understanding smile in return. Not too long after, a fourth individual arrives at the table and sits down next to Charlotte. Afternoon, ladies.
Adrian, how are you doing?
Adrian shrugs his shoulders. Same old.
Yuri's not with you.
No, she's making up a test for Mr. Mathers right now. She probably won't be joining us.
Got you. Adrian, you remember Charlotte, don't you?
Adrian and Charlotte exchange a look. I do. It's been a minute.
Yeah, how have you been?
Oh, you know, just life.
So, Monica, about that thing we were talking about. Oh, yes, sorry for getting a little sidetracked. So, as you two may or may not already know, the anime club has been disbanded.
Huh? It has?
Yes. Charlotte here believes there's more to it than the official story we've been told, and she's trying to do some digging as to what's really going on.
Well, what has our upstanding president said?
That the club no longer had sufficient membership, and Kayla requested to dissolve.
If that's the case, I don't see what there is to it. Clubs come and go here all the time. Now, if the club was forcibly disbanded like Caitlin did to the cycling club last year for no good reason, then you might be onto something. But if it's just some person leaving the club for whatever reason, I don't see the point.
That's the thing, I don't think that's the case. I think Michael, the member of the club who left, was pushed to leave.
So?
I think he was leaned on indirectly by the student council through Kai.
Even if that's the case, why would they do that, and how do you prove it?
Well, that's why I'm digging. Jeremy has made it passably clear he's never held Kayla or her club in especially high regard. The student council also forced us to do budget requests early this year and moved up the start date for the festival by several months. I think he was trying to trip them off somehow, now that I think about it, but then again, it's not like the anime club was the only club affected by all this either.
Also, Kai definitely helped Jeremy win the election. A lot of his targets last year were either Jeremy's rivals or close to them. Of course, when the serious competition is out of the way, you swoop in and win in a landslide against Caitlin Frost's little puppet. Adrian scoffs as he takes another sip from his drink. That's why I voted for Dominic. Dude was hilarious. Still, I'd have a hard time seeing Kai letting himself be used like that. He's not a mindless stooge, and he's not the kind of person to hitch his wagon to some wannabe politician without a good reason. You might want to stop the sentences from hitting the fourth row if you can help it, because then they kind of touch the bottom of the box and it looks bad. Then again, you've also got all this space up here. Maybe if you adjust the positioning of the words themselves, you might actually be able to fit that fourth row pretty comfortably. But maybe he had some sort of deal with Jeremy. I don't know, Kai hates Shiro's guts, so maybe you're not too far off the mark here.
See, I'm not crazy here.
Well, I'm not the one saying it.
Monica says you two talked to Michael last week, and I was wondering if he talked to you about Shiro or the anime club.
Adrian looks to Monica, who, after a moment, somberly nods to him. Adrian takes another sip of his drink and sighs. Yeah, we talked to him about Shiro. He asked us if the whole thing that he did to Monica was true or not, and we told him that it was. Mind you, we didn't tell him that it was Monica, but I'm sure he figured it out at some point. I didn't get the impression that he was particularly close with Shiro, though. It sounded to me like he'd just heard it from the rumor mill.
I actually think he was with Shiro, but he was just trying to learn more about him, so he played it off as not really knowing him.
I guess he's craftier than I thought. I gotta give him credit for that.
Shiro did say that Kai had been harassing him since the first day, so that's probably how he found out about it from the start.
Probably, yeah.
So you guys just backed up the rumors about Shiro writing that in fanfiction about Monica?
Yeah, pretty much.
Was that all?
Well, he also pulled me aside and told me he wanted another perspective on the matter, so I told him to go talk to Kayla and Ruby. Whether he spoke to them or not, I don't know, but he must have if he ended up leaving.
Do we know if he spoke to anyone else?
Not as far as I know. We haven't spoken to him since. Monica and I are in the back of the class, and he's towards the front.
Yeah, I haven't seen much or spoken to him since.
Charlotte sighs, ruffling her hands through her hair.
Understood. Well, I suppose the next few people I need to talk to is Kayla and Ruby. That does seem like your next best lead. Do you guys have any other classes with Michael, Kayla, or Ruby?
Both Adrian and Monica shake their heads. Charlotte then turns to Sayori, who is staring off into space with a guilty expression.
Sayori? Oh, yeah? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Sayori. Sayori makes eye contact with Adrian. What's wrong?
Nothing at all. Just thoughts. You sure? You look kind of nervous. Well, yeah. I messed up.
Sayori confesses.
Messed up? What are you talking about? I ran into Michael before he left the club. It must have been the day he decided to do it. It was on the rooftop before school. He was down and told me about his dilemma. He said he was thinking about leaving the anime club because Shiro made him feel uncomfortable, and that he didn't want to have a target on his back. I recommended he try to stick it out, but he wanted to report Kai to someone and make sure it actually went somewhere.
Okay, so
I recommended Jeremy. Well, then I ran into him this morning, and he wasn't very happy about how everything turned out.
Adrian facepalms as Monica's jaw drops.
Sayori, why would you do that? Jeremy is not to be trusted. I know, I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. Jeremy always helped me when I had problems.
Yeah, because you have tits, Sayori.
Adrian.
Monica shoots him an angry glare. What? It's true. Adrian fires back. Jeremy is Kai's bitch. We all know that.
Well, true as it may be, he thought that I set him up because I sent him to Jeremy, and Jeremy supposedly told Michael to leave the anime club, and then Kai would leave him alone.
Adrian and Monica turn to Charlotte. Well, sorry for doubting you.
Apology accepted.
She says as she playfully sticks her tongue out. Monica leans back in shock.
Well, I knew something stunk about Jeremy the first time I met him, but I never thought he'd do something like this. Why are you surprised?
Why are you surprised? The student council's been pulling shit for years. If anything, Jeremy's following the example of his predecessor. You remember how much of a control freak Caitlin Frost was.
Yeah. Jenna would complain about her all the time. It was kind of ironic that she didn't trust her to run the club, even though she was hand-picked successor when she moved on to student council.
Yeah, from what I heard, she always tried to control what the clubs were doing. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think that's why they tried to impeach her. You know, sometimes I wonder if whoever was before Caitlin was any better than what we have now.
Before Caitlin was this guy named Brad Johnson. As I hear it, he wasn't all that much better either. Caitlin was also vice president under him.
I don't think I heard about him.
Basically, he was some jock that didn't care about the job at all. Caitlin ran against him 2 elections ago and replaced him, and then Jeremy replaced Caitlin since she was graduating.
Oh yeah, sounds a little familiar.
So it seems like we're continuing our trend of horrible presidents.
That's why I've never had much faith in politics.
I'm just disconnected from that aspect. I've never really cared about it until now since this affects Shiro. I will admit I never really liked Caitlin either, considering how she did nothing to help Shiro when all that stuff last year happened. She just ignored him and hot-potatoed him off the principal ranking. Yeah, Caitlin did everything she could to avoid handling the situation. She wasn't of much help to me either.
Guess Jeremy's going to join her and everyone else we've ever had up in the Hall of Infamy.
It seems that way. I still can't believe this. Jeremy's always been so nice and caring, even before he became president. I've known him for years through church. I guess he's the kind of person to take advantage of your kindness. He doesn't know you directly helped, right? Or he doesn't know you indirectly helped, right? No, he doesn't. I've literally only talked to him once since the semester started. If that's the case, then Jeremy wouldn't have known that you sent him this way. No, I guess not.
I wouldn't. If you go to him, he might suspect something's up.
Yeah, Adrian's right. I wouldn't say anything to Jeremy if you see him. Alright!
Well, Charlotte, best of luck to you and your quest. Just leave me out of it.
Thank you, Adrian.
Don't mention it. Monica shoots a deflated look at Charlotte before digging into her food. Lunchtime comes to end goes, and the bell finally rings, signifying the end of the period. Adrian and Sayori bid Charlotte and Monica goodbye as they head in opposite directions. As they're walking, Charlotte attempts to make conversation with Monica, who answers her questions with one-word answers. They get halfway down the hallway before Monica suddenly grabs onto Charlotte's arm, causing her to let out a surprised gasp. Monica then pulls her over to the side.
Hey, so there's something I need to know. Oh yeah, what's up? Are you doing this just to try to fix Shiro's problems for him? Why are you actually doing this? Please be honest with me.
Charlotte places her hand on Monica's shoulder.
Not quite. It's like I said back there. I owe it to Shiro to get to the bottom of this. But I'm doing this for myself just as much as I'm doing it for him. What do you mean? I couldn't be there for him last year. When that whole fanfiction thing went down, and among all the other things, I was too distracted with my own issues to pay any real attention. That wasn't your fault. It was. If I had a better handle on my mind and emotions last year, maybe I could have stopped things from getting worse. Charlotte, I don't think that would have been possible. It got really bad for me. Shiro got it pretty bad too, more than he deserved in hindsight. It just wasn't a pleasant situation for everyone that was involved. I spent my entire summer in therapy just to regain the confidence to come back here. I walked a mile in your shoes. I got a glimpse of how you viewed the world 24/7. Fortunately, the therapy worked, and I recovered mentally, but there are still scars. There always will be. I don't know why you're doing this for someone who put me through hell.
She says, choking up.
Monica, look, I know you've been told this 100 times, but trust me when I say this. Shiro didn't write what was posted. I know what his handwriting looks like. It was exactly his style. And we both know Kai writes way too neatly, so if it was doctored, he certainly didn't do it. Besides, Shiro creeped on me for 6 months, ever since he met me.
Monica says, her voice straining to stay a whisper. Monica says, her whispering.
How does this end, Charlotte? What's the end game?
Monica says as tears build up in her eyes.
Monica, listen to me. This is exactly why I beat myself up over this whole thing. What you went through, what Shiro went through. I feel like I could have done something to avoid all that. I might not be able to fix things. Between you and Shiro, him and Michael, the anime club, any of it. But I owe it to myself and to Shiro to try. Because if I don't know how I can forgive myself. No one should ever have to suffer the way I have. You shouldn't have had a glimpse into how I see the world. It is a curse. Besides, if I don't try to stand up for what's right, what's stopping Jeremy or someone else from pulling something like this again? You guys put it best. We've never had a good student council that actually cared about us and did their job. In my eyes, Jeremy's no different than Caitlin. We're the ones that need to step up here. He could very easily wake up one morning and decide to target the literature club, the science club, or someone else. Maybe we're wrong about all this. Maybe there is a simple explanation.
Charlotte takes a second to breathe.
Maybe I'm reading too deeply into this. But please, just let me try to undo some of the damage. After all, I'm partially responsible for it. No, you're not. I am. How? How is what happens your responsibility?
Charlotte looks back at Monica. A pained and embarrassed expression comes across her face. Charlotte stands still for a minute, trying to recall the events of that day, realizing she never told Monica the full story of what happened. Only her, Shiro, and a select few know the full story. The details are a bit hazy now, but she tries to paint a clear mental picture for herself of what exactly happened in that memory. That memory, she thought to herself. All the unpleasantness, all the grief and pain that she caused to another human being. And for what? Just so that memory can haunt her in every waking moment for the last few years. For the sins she committed on that day, she's tried everything she could to repress her guilt. Her brain attempts to forcibly repress the memory. Charlotte begins to shake as her emotions are kicked into overdrive. Her heart begins to race, her sense of touch numbing, her breathing raggedy. She suddenly finds it hard to maintain her balance. Her knees begin to uncontrollably shake.
I don't think I can bring myself to talk about it. Not yet. I'm not there yet.
She barely manages to stammer out as tears begin to fall. Monica then sets her things down and embraces Charlotte in a tight hug.
It's going to be okay. You're the smartest girl I've ever met. I know you love your mysteries and you care deeply about your friends. Do what you need to do, just please be careful. If both Kai and Jeremy are involved in some plot, it can't be good.
Charlotte doesn't respond, instead just letting out a shaky breath.
You'll get to the bottom of this, I know you will. Just take care of yourself, for me.
Monica and Charlotte spend the next few minutes in silence. Monica tightly embraces Charlotte as her breaths become more controlled. After a few minutes, Charlotte has mostly calmed down.
I'll walk you to your next class.
Monica picks up her belongings and takes Charlotte by the arm as she walks her to her next class.
It takes some time for my nerves to calm down. My anxiety attacks have certainly been occurring less frequently, but are still just as intense. Well, I guess that's what the medicine's for. I must have forgotten to take them this morning. As I sit through class, boredom strikes me and I begin to doodle in my notebook. I then decide to write out the events of what's happened with the anime club as I know them. I draw a line between each of the parties involved and making notes on their known interactions. It ends up taking the shape of a spider web. As I construct the web, I reach two conclusions. Talking to Kayla and Ruby would help determine at what point Michael began to lose his trust in Shiro. As of now, I only know that Michael had at least 2 encounters with Kai, and had one presumably after he talked to Kayla and Ruby. But there is still a side of the story I haven't heard. A side I might reluctantly have to hear. Kai's side. There's no way I'll be able to get the truth out of Jeremy. A confrontation with him would likely not end well. But with Kai, a confrontation with him poses about the same risk. Well, I might not get the truth out of him either. But, given our past together, maybe there's a chance. Maybe I can convince him somehow, or somehow catch him in a lie. But how? I haven't talked to Kai in at least 2 years, and there's no way he'd be keen on seeing me. But I know I have to try. The bell rings and I shut my notebook. I only have 1 class left before the school ends for the day. I should at least try to figure out where Kayla and Ruby hang around after school, or if they go straight home. That way I can at least plan my route to talk to them. But who would know them? I decide to try to talk to the first person that I see. A blonde-haired student.
Blonde-haired.
Student who sits right in front of me, who is just about to finish up. Oh, what was his name? Hey, Chester. The student turns around.
Yeah?
Hey, I know this sounds weird, but do you know a Kayla Allen or Ruby Phillips? Chester raises an eyebrow at me. Well, I guess that was an...
I know Ruby. I don't really know Kayla all that well.
She didn't say this out loud. Well, I guess she might have been thinking it, but it's not it's not italicized as she was thinking. I guess either put her name tag on it or italicize it for whatever version of that's supposed to be.
Ruby's actually in my class, or last class. Why?
Oh, perfect. Where is it?
Well, we got history with Mr. Jones, room 191.
Could you tell Ruby that Charlotte Webb needs to talk to her about something, preferably with Kayla too?
Sure, I guess.
Thank you. Chester gives me a weird look as he walks out of the classroom. Well, I just have to hope that he follows through on his promise. I finish packing up my things and head out.